All right, shalom, shalom. Mr. Brother Amawan coming to the video. Lord, when it's edifying and uplifting and encouraging. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, rule well and teach well. Shalom to the whole like men that scattered abroad, pushing the truth without sincerity. And also shalom to you very few sincere sisters, right, that's taking heed and getting in order in these last days. Right, to you all, let's say shalom. And I wanted just to focus on this scripture right here, these couple of verses, in the book of First Corinthians 9 and 24 through verse 27, right? And Lord, when it's edifying and uplifting, I was just thinking about this in general, honestly, from last night, was able to break bread with bros and, get a couple reps in on the bench press. And it made me think about this precept, right here, just the training. And then also just, looking at the end, we see the finish line more clear than ever, which is going to get more clear as the days go by, but that makes us go all the hardest to Lord willing obtain that crown, keep training, right? Keep, brothers been heavy into the herbs, the apostles been pushing those two things, man. Shouldn't be eating, that junk food and, just really taking care of your temple, man. Because this is that time period, right? This is that time when people are crashing out. Because why? They're not conditioning the body, not just the physical, but the mental as well. This is that last stride in the race that you must be ready for. You must give it all you got, because the finish line is right here, right? Once Jacob's trouble pops off, it's straight down here from there, right? And we're literally at the top of the climax, and it's finna go downhill real soon. So just keep maintaining, keep pushing. This is 1 Corinthians 9 and 24 in the Message, right, version. You've all been to the stadium and seen the athletes race. Everyone runs, one wins. Run to win. All good athletes train hard. They do it for a gold medal that tarnishes and fades. You're at the one that's gold eternally, right? We know what we're chasing is the kingdom, but the message was what? The mindset, lock in, You done did 3 good quarters in the basketball game. You in that last quarter, 4 quarters. This is where it's time to shine at. This that last stride, just that stretch. You gotta, it's a minute on the clock. You gotta finish strong. You gotta bring that dub home. And I'm just speaking on that, on the carnal side, but even inside this truth, man, we gotta pray harder, fast more, get out and exercise a little bit, be around more brothers that can help, build you in the spirit. You utilize all your tools to finish this race out, because what you don't want to do is fall, trip, at the finish line, man, right? Which we're seeing videos go across where, bug outs, they dropping out, So you want to give it everything you got, utilize everything you can. I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, You have to use everything you have to, you can, like the Lord has provided for you to finish this race. So that's the mindset. You got to look at it like, you know what, I'm in a race right now, and I gotta win. I gotta do what I gotta do to win. If it gotta cut back on going out, do so. If you gotta cut back on, whatever the case may be, drinking, so you can lock in, It was a little song, like, I had to cut them hoes out to get my mental straight, whatever the case may be. You got to utilize these things so you can win this race, man. You don't want to be the one that falls at the end, But it said they do it for a gold medal that tarnishes and fades, because reverting back to, a basketball or NBA champion, Michael Jordan, right? He got rings. Like I like to use the man Metta World Peace, right, which was Ron Artest at the time. He had a podcast, and he said, he was like, yeah, man, he sold this NBA ring. He won it, but it didn't really hold no value. He started coming inside troubling times where he had to pawn it. He had to sell it. But see, we racing after something that we won't be able to sell. And it's gonna be way better than anything that we ever hope for. Right, in the book of Romans chapter 8, I want to say like around 18 or 17, for I reckon the thing that you the sufferings, right? Roughly paraphrasing, right? The suffering that you're going through is gonna be nothing compared to what you're about to get. So that's why you gotta finish this race. That's why you gotta lock in, knowing that, look, man, this suffering is only temporary. I think that states in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 4. These light afflictions, these light sufferings, it's only temporary. It's only for the moment, right? But nothing feels better than giving it all you got. And once you cross that finish line, it just pays off, right? You got 5 seconds on the clock, and you in a intense ab workout, and you see it through. You know what I'm saying? And you take that break. It's like, damn, the water. I'm glad that's done. You feel accomplished, and we will feel accomplished. We giving it all I got, right? The Lord gonna repay us, man. Keep flipping your talents. So let's keep going. This verse 26 says, I don't know about you, but I'm running hard for the finish line. I'm giving it everything I got. No lazy living for me. I'm staying alert and in top condition, right? And that just really the spirit of a prophet anyway. We gotta be in top condition to do our job. We gotta fight. I remember the elder bro Yarmai right there in Chicago, right? Yahbashim Shabrakatah, to you. He had something that was really heavy. I always think about it time to time when I come across certain scriptures, but he was just saying, like, he knew a dude, and that was in the truth, and he failed, right? He stopped doing the work, and he had to put the fire up under him by telling him, like, hey man, you proving them niggas right, even though they wrong. You proving them right because you stopped, and that always just been on my mind, like, ever since I heard it, because it's heavy, so it makes you got to keep going, man, because these people looking at you to fail. And I ain't talking about just no average, no average person. I'm talking about your family members, the ones you had to really forsake and distance from, because you seen the light, you seen the finish line. Right? Don't let them be the reason why. Don't stumble and prove them right, even though they're wrong, dead ass wrong. Right? So we can't be lazy. We gotta be that example, man. Right? We gotta be that example. It says, I'm staying alert and top condition. I'm not going to get caught napping, telling everyone else all about it, and then missing out myself. See, that's heavy. Putting yourself in condition. You gotta discipline. And they're gonna help you lock in. You don't want to tell everybody else the good news, and you bullshitting, getting lazy, and it's all hell's about to finna break loose, right? And you just stop, and you miss out. You miss out on getting that thou wall, right, from the Lord, right, on that mark of exemption, because you got lazy. In the heat, and right before the battle even cranked up, So that's what I just, had on my spirit, as I, broke bread with brothers last night. We was, matter of fact, let me speak on that. It was doing a couple of bench presses. You know what I'm saying? I think every brother should already know. You gotta get that pump in for, go out to, to a bar or whatever, just to break bread with brothers. Be amongst the world. So we just, we gonna get that little pump in, and and we pushing brothers. You're like, hey, once you do 10, fuck it, do it for the tribe. And and guess what? We're gonna help you. And that was spiritual, and that was still spiritual. Because on them last 2 pushes, you don't even got it, but that brother right there was gonna guide you, give you that encouragement. And I thought about what it is, one of my favorites, Acts 14 and 22. Matter of fact, let's pull that up right quick. It's like, I'm gonna change it to a different translation, because that's not what I want. Right? And if you get what I'm coming from, you understand what I'm saying, right? It's Acts 14 and 22 in the GNT. It said they strengthened the believers and encouraged them to remain true to the faith. We must pass through many troubles to enter the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh. They taught, right? So that just, us. We pushing to believe. We push because we believe. We believe that the brother can do them extra two push on them extra two reps. Even though we know he gassed out at two, but we know it's in him. So we push him and hey, what brother? Hey, knock him out. And sometimes you may be like, fuck it, you got one more. You giving it all you got. But once a brother racked the bench, you're like, damn, I did that shit. And that's the same thing we want to win. We want to give it all we got, man. Because at the end, right, you go into the book of Second Esdras, chapter 2. Man, the Lord is going to crown, or he commended those that stood so stiffly for the name, right? If you standing so stiffly, that means you giving it all you got, And it's going to be the Lord's going to reward us for that, man. So just so Lord willing, this was comforting, good exhortation and uplifting, right? I'm going to close out by giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Krakadas. Shalom.